So new parts have just arrived. Unfortunately it is fix-it parts and not fun parts. It's a metal coolant pipe which is completely rusted away and leaking outside. So got the new one here, direct from Subaru. Thanks to Jeffries of Bacton, Subaru dealership, for always taking care of my car, supplying the parts, etc. Nicely packaged. Looks like they might have redesigned it because it now comes in this nice shiny lilac coating, which is pretty cool. Looks quite fancy. The old one was must have been plasti dipped or something. And then I also got a load of hose clamps and the 2 bolts that hold it on. Yes, I could have used, pretty much any bolt from B&Q or whatever, but it's nice to have the right ones, the right length, etc. And then, yeah, it's just nice to know that they're the exact same size as the last ones. And they're not that expensive, really. So what I need to try and do first is get that under tray off, because it's making access very difficult. So I've got 4 bolts on the inside, and then annoyingly it kind of integrates with the wheel arch liner on both sides, so I'm going to have to take that off as well. Right, I've got those 4 bolts off. Now I need to deal with this mess here because it's all attached to the rest of the wheel arch liner, even all the way up there, which is really annoying. Thank you, Subaru. Now that I've got the under tray off, I've got obviously full access to everything underneath the engine, and also the radiator drain plug, which is, I believe, that one there. Nothing's really coming out, so I'm going to take that off and hope it lets some air in. Yep, which it did. I am going to be putting new coolant in because even though Subaru's coolant is like super long life, I have no idea. I assume it's been in for the lifetime of the car. It looks a fairly dark, nasty colour as well, so I'm going to assume that it's just really old. Perfect opportunity to replace it with some new stuff. Right, so my coolant is still draining a bit, but I'm getting a little bit impatient because it's taken like half an hour. Obviously the reason I wanted to drain the coolant from the radiator was so that I didn't get covered in coolant when I take the pipe off. But yeah, now on to the main event. So the pipe goes from near the thermostat housing directly out of the sort of engine block, and then it goes up. You can see where I've tried to spread some magic goo on it to stop it leaking, but it didn't work. And that's the cylinder head there with the valves and the spark plugs, and then it goes directly past the exhaust manifold, which I assume is why they made it metal in the first place, probably so it can tolerate the heat of the exhaust. But it came in this kind of black plasti dip, which is just cracked and perished and allowed it to rust. Then it goes up. There are 2 10mm bolts holding it in, one underneath where I just showed you and one up here. A little tiny pipe goes off somewhere up there to probably a heater matrix or something, not sure. But yeah, there's 1 bolt here somewhere and 1 bolt underneath there, and then obviously there's all the hose clamps and stuff to take off, and I've bought new ones because you can see they're absolutely munted. Alright, so I've got one 10mm bolt on the bottom here which holds it in kind of bracket. So I'm probably going to start with the bolts. Alright, it was loose the whole time. I thought I was struggling with it. It turns out I'd done it. And the second bolt is just here above the drive shaft. I don't actually even know how I'm going to get this pipe out of this gap yet. But that is a problem for in a few minutes' time. Okay, good. The bolts weren't seized, so that's the first hurdle done. Okay, so I've got that bolt out. The whole pipe's dropped a little bit already, which is fine. And then I need to get this tiny hose clamp off and this one, which is facing the wrong way, so that's going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to leave that hose clamp there because I'm putting new ones on, so I don't need to keep it up there for any reason. So I was really struggling to get that top one off from underneath. I believe it's that one there, because it's facing upwards, so I'm going to have to attack it from above. I decided to disconnect the battery as well, just because there's a lot of wires and stuff down there, and the starter motor is right down there as well, and just don't want to take any chances. So I couldn't get it completely off of the pipe because of access issues. It's really tight in there, but I have managed to move it away from holding the pipe in, so time to get the pipe out. You have no idea the fight I've been through for the last like 20 minutes. But I've got 2 of the 3 pipes off, hose pipes I mean. Absolute struggle. I had to put one of the bolts back in to be able to get enough support on the pipe to, you know, twist and yank the hose pipe off. So if I were to do it next time, I'd probably just buy a new car, but if I were to do it next time, I would obviously leave the bolts in until last and do the hoses first. I did actually, I think with the pliers I used to get it off, I may have put a hole in the hose which I can't replace, so I'm going to put some sealant on that and hope that that doesn't leak. Okay, so after probably 45 minutes of fighting to get that pipe in there, you kind of have to do a complete 360 with it in between that gap there. I think I've managed to accidentally unplug something in the process, so I'm going to have to find out what that is up there. Probably won't start otherwise. Anyway, yes, it is now time to bolt it in and get it back into the pipes. The missus has brought me a lovely cup of tea. Right, so I'm nearly there with it. I've just got to do the hoses now. I've got the bolts in. New hose clamps are going on because the old ones are rusty, and then a drop of fairy liquid just kind of smeared on the end of the metal pipe will help the hoses go onto it easily. It has literally taken me the best part of a couple of hours to get that pipe out and back in again, all the clips put back on and everything. I've clipped that connector back in, which was the coil pack for the spark plug I accidentally removed. So now I should be good to fill it back up with coolant and make sure there's no air in the system. Just thought I'd show you the old pipe as well. There is a great big hole in it where it's just become so rusty. And as I said, yeah, this one has some kind of black plastic dip around it which has cracked and failed. The new one was pink in colour and didn't have any kind of coating on it, so we'll see. So what I have here is as close as I could find to the genuine Subaru super coolant. It's blue, same as the Subaru one, and importantly it says good for aluminium engines on it, which this one is. It says you can either mix it with 3 parts or 50-50 if you want it to be a stronger strength. good for like lower temperatures in the winter. So I'm going to mix it 50-50 just to make sure that it's adequate. Various sources of the internet say it takes between 7 and 8, somewhere around there, litres. So I'm just going to top it up until it is full into the funnel, and then I'll remove some afterwards if I have to. Okay, so now that that's stopped taking any more coolant, while it's still on the ramps and elevated, I'm going to start the engine, get it hot, put the heater on, and hopefully that will blow any air bubbles out. So it's running now, just getting warm. That's just leaking from my funnel because I don't have one of those kits to do it properly. But crucially, where the leak was, nothing's coming out right now, so that is obviously the main thing we're looking for. It's getting warm already, so that's pretty good. Obviously I've got my cold water temperature light there. I want to make sure that that goes out and that the fans come on and stuff like that. So I've had the engine idling with the heater on for about an hour. It doesn't have a temperature gauge, it just has a cold light when you first start it, and then presumably a red light if it gets too hot. The cold light went out, the red light never came on, but the fans never came on. I'm not really sure why they didn't come on. But anyway, I'm going to call that job done. Now it's time to get the under tray back on, which I'll do off camera because it's boring. I'll take it for a little drive. So I'm just going to take it for a quick drive now. Everything appears to be working. There's no warning lights on the dash, it's not getting too hot or anything. I still haven't found any fans coming on yet, but I assume it's just not warm enough outside for that. So yeah, that's job done. Took me best part of 5 hours, but there you go.